Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, back with his good friend for a special episode 4. Mr. Lumberjack, how you doing, Matt?
I'm doing awesome, Mike. I'm so excited to talk about this one. I literally was like, you know what? We should do something on this because this is a big thing. This is going to be huge in 2022.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you've been following our channel or certainly our playlist, you know that there's lots of people talking about housing crash and prices and rates and all of that. The latest twist on this story is that property taxes are going to crash housing markets. So you happen to live in a very high tax area. I happen to have this wonderful thing called Prop 13. So thank you, Mr. Gavin Newsom. I will thank you for that.
Only thing he's ever done right.
Yeah,
well done.
It was done before him. The only thing I can say is he hasn't repealed it. So
yeah,
yet, exactly. Don't trust that guy. But anyways, let's talk about property taxes crashing your market. What do you think?
Yeah. So if you believe that, you're dumb and you haven't done that. Sorry.
If you believe that, you're dumb and you don't know math. Tell me more. Okay.
Yeah. So literally, do I have your attention now?
Yeah.
I did. So we in New Hampshire, we don't have an income tax.
Yep.
We don't have a sales tax.
Oh, really?
No.
I did not know that.
It's only on, I think it's like prepared foods or something like that. So it's a piece of the market.
Okay. All right. All right.
So we don't have either of those. So that's a game changer.
For sure. Yeah, that helps disposable income.
Yep. So it helps disposable income, but because we don't have the income tax, because we don't have the sales tax, where's the state get their money?
Yeah, of course. Property.
So state gets their money a couple of places. One, they get it on toll roads.
Okay.
And then the other place that they get it a lot, or the main place that they get it, is property taxes.
How about car registration? I'm going to guess that's higher too, or no?
I don't know. No, actually, you know what's really funny is Massachusetts was 7x to register one of my cars over what it was to register it here.
All right. So, okay. So that is toll roads and property. Yeah. Okay.
Really toll roads and property. So you look at property, and as a general rule of thumb, we play the game here, which is the rate is $30 per thousand on assessed value.
Okay.
Okay.
And
here's the thing. Each town sets what they call that mill rate. It's called a mill rate.
All right.
Each town assesses what that mill rate is.
And that's the 30, just so I'm.
That's in this particular case, I would call that's the 30 in this particular case.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
What they do is they say the mill rate's 30.
Okay.
And the assessment, we're gauging your assessment because they do a real reassessment every 5 years, but then they do minor adjustments every year.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
So what you see is mill rate 30. And let's say your house is assessed at 200. So your taxes are $6,000 property taxes.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yep.
And that's based on assessed value. What ends up happening is in a market like this, the politicians say, hey, we're going to take the mill rate down to 29. And everyone's like, oh, a tax cut. What's the assessment do? Goes from 200 to 240. My net tax is way higher.
Got it. Okay.
So that's how they do it in New Hampshire. And it's constantly this mill rate, assessment, mill rate, assessment. And so it just keeps on climbing this way.
Okay. So it does go up.
It's both go up.
Okay.
They just take turns going up. It's usually back and forth. 1 year it's assessment. The next year it's mill rate. Sometimes it's both, but it's almost always one or the other.
So let's play this out, right? So I think what you're telling me is your property taxes goes up, roughly speaking, every year.
Every year.
Every year. Okay.
Every year.
Well, then why doesn't that crash housing? Because that sounds bad.
It does. It sounds horribly bad because the rate by which it goes up is obviously still typically it's still significantly less than what pricing pressure we have there on our rents. And that's the beautiful thing. I live in a state that is aligned with landlords. Why? Right. Because I pay their income.
Correct. Right.
Because I pay my taxes.
Right.
And so when you're in a state that's aligned with the landlord that says, hey, if the landlord's not getting his rent, he's not paying us our taxes.
Right.
So they are smart and they have rights for tenants, but they're not unreasonable in what they ask of landlords.
Okay. Well, let's because again, I think the people talking about property taxes crushing housing are not talking about the landlords. They're talking about owner ocs.
What they're talking about, so they're saying 20 to 30% price crash because of rent increase, because of they said 20 to 30% crash of values based only on increased taxes.
Yeah, I don't.
The math doesn't work.
That hurts my head.
That's why it hurts your head, because the math doesn't work. So my taxes, because we had everything, mill rate went up, and this is one of those unique times when a market's exploding, mill rate went up and assessment went up.
Okay.
I had some properties that had a $6,000 tax bill.
Okay.
That went up 18%.
All right, so let's play that out. Let's pretend like you're a
Yep.
homeowner. You had $6 grand for a home, and it goes up 18%. That's roughly $1,000. It's $1,080.
Yep.
So that's roughly speaking, again, rough numbers, $100 a month. You could see why. I mean, that would stretch somebody's budget potentially, yep. But you got to remember that's only one factor of a gazillion other factors. Oh, by the way, incomes are up also. But again, $100 a month, that's going to stretch payments. But I don't know. I don't get how $100 a month crashes housing 20 or 30%.
It doesn't. It's math. That's what I'm saying. He's talking again about a chart. He's talking again about a thought or a feeling. He should stop doing that, because the math doesn't work. Even for a homeowner, right?
Yeah. Even
for a homeowner, you should not. I don't know how you got qualified for the home or how you have afforded the home.
Yeah.
If your payment goes up $100 or even $200 in a month, and if your payment went up $200, that means your assessed value of your home was like $400,000 or $500,000.
Well, let's play the raw number. So if it goes, so let's say your payment went up $100, that means your equity, and again, this is assessed equity, right? It probably went up what?
Well, it goes up way faster.
Yeah, so it's like 50 or 60 grand.
They're using some sort of a computer model.
Sure.
Where it's like, 200 goes to 217. Right. But what's the real number? 260.
Right.
Like your property is worth significantly more.
Yeah. So your net worth goes up, your income statement takes a hit because your property. Yeah, it just doesn't. Pointing at property taxes and then calling a 20 or 30% crash, it's not a connected.
Nope.
It may cause some no answers in new purchases, maybe.
Yep.
Right. Because again, debt to income, all of that I could see, but I just don't understand. So I'm just trying to play it out in my head how this even ties together. So let's just assume let's assume again, I only could use my experience.
Yeah.
My parents bought a house in California for 20 grand or 25 grand or some stupid number. By the time they left, it was worth $1 million.
Oh.
Property taxes, Prop 13 means they paid nothing. I mean, they like $80 a year in property taxes, or I don't know what it was, but it was nothing. Wow. Let's just assume we didn't have Prop 13.
Right.
What would happen to my family? Because again, we didn't make a lot of money. They would have had to sell that house eventually.
100%. That's what happens here.
So what happens is, hey, they're a teacher, whatever. They can't afford it anymore. They have to sell. But what does that mean? That means they're very likely sitting on a gob of equity.
Yes.
That they can move.
Yes.
Somewhere else.
Yes. One of the properties that I bought, that family had bought the house for $60,000. $60,000.
How long ago? Just
30 years ago.
Well, there you go.
30 years ago, they paid 60 grand. I had to pay them $500,000.
Yeah.
They didn't have a mortgage anymore.
Yeah.
Mortgage is gone.
Yeah.
And literally they were even joking about the fact that the taxes on the house are more than their mortgage ever was.
Exactly.
Monthly. Their tax, and that was something that even went up over time. Their tax bill, I want to say it was like $12,000 a year. I think it was about $1,000 a month. And they were like, we were never paying $1,000 a month for our mortgage, even with taxes included. Escrow. We never got up to that number.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, I think taxes going up is definitely going to impact. I think it will slow housing down. Everybody wants to point to this is going to cause a crash. It's not
one thing.
It's not one thing. It's not one thing. So I appreciate this, man. How can people find you?
Lumberjack Landlord on YouTube and Lumberjack Landlord live stream 11:30 a.m. Eastern time on Sundays. We go for 3 hours. Your questions, my answers, and a bunch of other folks like to join in.
There you go. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.